Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Alex Nordergraf, and here today we're going to talk about how to simplify success while you're migrating complex SAP systems into the Google Cloud. So I'm a director of product management for SAP Cloud Solutions within Virtustream, which is a Dell Technologies business. All familiar with Dell. So we're going to focus on three different areas today. First off, we're going to talk about business challenges. So what are those challenges that would force a business or suggest that a business look at leveraging professional or managed service companies to help streamline and simplify their solutions? So, things like complexity, flexibility, knowledge, inefficiencies, and so on. So what are those things that you're looking to address? Secondly, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've developed as part of Virtustream's Extreme Care Services for Google Cloud. And our focus is on helping modernize and migrate workloads, taking them from where they are to the cloud and modernizing them as part of that, operating and optimizing them. So once they land in that cloud environment, what do we provide? What can be done there to operate those on an ongoing basis? And then lastly, what's that transformation as you leverage more and more of those Google Cloud capabilities? And then lastly, talk a little bit about Google Cloud's benefits and how Virtustream and Google bring you best of breed solutions. Talk about things like cost controls, which are always a concern when you're moving to a hyperscaler environment, SAP expertise to help de-risk and streamline those migrations, as well as areas where we can simplify operations and really just help drive the best and best cloud value possible. So let's talk a little bit more about business challenges. So there's a lot of business challenges when you're moving to a hyperscaler, when you're moving to Google Cloud. First off is complexity, right? How do you migrate? How do you move a mission critical environment, right, from one platform to another, while it's ensuring that you're taking advantage of all those net new capabilities that platform you're moving to are leveraged, right? Because you don't want to just do a lift and shift, right? You want to reevaluate, almost reimagine your solution to really take the advantage of all the benefits that the Google Cloud will offer to you. So managing all this complexity, managing those timelines, and managing risk is a huge challenge for many organizations. Inefficient operations, right? Skills is the biggest thing that we run across here with our customers. Is to move to Google Cloud, you need individuals with technical expertise, not only in SAP, which you probably have already because you're running an SAP environment, but you also need individuals that are an expert on the Google Cloud platform. Because if you don't have those, you can make mistakes, right? You can not leverage, Google's internal structures with folders and projects. You cannot leverage correct machine types, misuse storage types, and end up with a solution that may be more expensive than it needs to be, or simply doesn't perform to the level that you're expecting it to do. And then costs, right? You're moving to a consumption-based platform. We've all heard the horror stories about costs where, there's been mistakes made about how, network egress was leveraged, right? So easy one to address, but also, is there an analysis being done as part of this migration, as part of this transformation to look at, are we migrating data that doesn't need to be migrated? Are we really evaluating the SAP system and all of its interconnections to ensure that we're doing, leveraging the best that we can? So let's drill into these a little bit further and talk about, what should the MSP that you're going to partner with have as a set of capabilities? So first off, simplicity, automations, and an understanding of tooling. There's a tremendous set of cloud native technologies and capabilities within the Google Cloud, but it doesn't address all aspects of the business's requirements for an SAP system and systems, right? So the decisions that need to be made here about what to use, what meets all the requirements, what do you need to add, right? To really have that full technology stack is critical. And any MSP you work with needs to have all of that. And obviously, when you're leveraging anything in Google Cloud, you're expecting an automation first approach, right? So infrastructure as service, automations, with SaltStack, Ansible, whatever, you're expecting all of those capabilities to be in play. Expertise, right? Any MSP you're partnering with needs to have those certified SAP and Google experts who understand not only your existing environment, but understand what the business is expecting as part of this transformational migration, right? And what are you looking to get out of this at the other end? Is there intentions, plans to leverage big data? Are there other integration points that are going to be added here? What's the goal, right? What problems are being addressed? And then efficiencies, right? SAP systems, they're not static, right? They evolve over time, particularly when you're moving to a rich feature-full platform as Google. There's all kinds of net new capabilities. So you want to make sure this MSP is continuously looking at the IaaS charges, just fundamentally from what are we doing here, and then evaluating that consumption while looking at, are there net new and innovative and interesting ways to potentially manage the costs for that environment. With Virtustream and our extreme care services for Google, we're really looking at full lifecycle management of a Google Cloud environment. We divide this kind of into three buckets. The first off, that modernize and migrate. So this is that analysis of an existing environment, determining if there are things that need to change to it before migration, say cold data. And doing that analysis to ensure that you understand the target, right? What do we need to change to really take benefit of the Google platform as part of a migration? Once it's migrated, right, and is operating in Google, well, you need to operate and optimize that on an ongoing basis, right? You need to make sure that it's being patched, there's the security monitoring going on, applications are being updated, and that you have that ongoing optimization service in place to ensure that your spend is going to the best possible area. And then that transformation and growth, right? How can you leverage Google capabilities, right, to add additional value to the business by leveraging all of that information, all that intelligence that is within your SAP systems? And potentially, can you, leverage additional data feeds into SAP to make SAP more informative, more useful? Or is there ways to take that data out of SAP and leverage that to add additional value to the business? So really those kinds of transformational and growth opportunities to make the best and improve the value that you're getting. Virtustream, we've been doing this for a while. We have over 10 years of experience of migrating workloads to the cloud. We've done over 3,000 migrations. We have a tremendous number of SAP and Google certified experts. We do this on a global basis, and we're really a white glove company, right? We focus on understanding our customers' expectations and requirements and working with them at a very, making sure that we're clear and working hand in hand with them to deliver what they're looking for. So drilling into what our portfolio looks like, our goal here really is that integrated design operation across the entire stack, right? We continue to talk about one hand to shake, which you'll hear me say several times throughout this presentation. We want to manage on your behalf, not only the IaaS layer, right? So that design, deployment, monitoring of the network storage compute components from a Google perspective, but also that application layer, right? Provide you with a single invoice at the end of the day, single contact person to manage, monitor, and support all of these tiers on an ongoing basis. And this supports everything from, managing VMs, deploying VMs, managing the storage for them, down the cloud native path. Are you looking at doing platform as a service? Are we looking at doing containerization with Kubernetes? What do you need from an infrastructure perspective to support high availability or disaster recovery? And then moving up the stack to include that monitoring and management at that OS database, middleware, and up to the SAP application layer, up to including basis support. And there, again, HA, DR, business continuity for all of these tiers. One thing that a lot of folks miss is the monitoring aspect of this. Our monitoring solutions don't just look at OS and above, but we actually look at the infrastructure layer as well. And we feed that into our internal control plane to ensure that we're getting visibility for the entire customer environment. And as soon as something goes wrong anywhere, whether it's with a Google networking or Google storage service, or a VM crashed, that we get that notification, and that we will automatically create tickets and route that to the appropriate resolver teams to get those solutions solved as quickly as possible, or take whatever remedial action is appropriate in that case. We've developed an integrated ops team approach for our Google offering. The goal being here is there's so much flexibility within the platform around provisioning net new resources, whether network, storage, compute, that we wanted to ensure that our resourcing wasn't impacting that time to value for the customer, that we can turn around solutions in a matter of minutes or hours as opposed to days and weeks. So we've integrated our ops teams from that IaaS and from that AMS perspective to provide that for our customers, while leveraging our automation first approach to our Google offering, where pretty much everything we've developed an automation for it, which we leverage to deploy. I've touched on that integrated control plane, right? That monitoring that spans the entire stack, right? Runs into our ticketing system, which we use ServiceNow, and then create those tickets, route those to the resolver teams for resolution. And no conversation about any mission critical application, or any application at all, is complete without talking about security. We've been doing security work for over 10 years. We support highly regulated workloads as well. So we've developed a comprehensive solution for OS and above that we add on top of Google's infrastructure. And then Google has a robust set of security capabilities for their platform as well. So let's talk a little bit more about why we're better together here, Virtustream with Google. So goal here really is multifold, right? First off, modernize SAP, right? While you're streamlining that migration, right? De-riskifying that migration and simplifying those ongoing operations. First off, simplicity, right? We have a unified solution for our customers. We provide both the IaaS as well as the AMS services. So single invoice from Virtustream, single contact point into Virtustream for this entire stack. And this could be, a massive Kubernetes environment deployed across, 2 different regions, or this could be a set of VMs running an SAP landscape, simple BW deployment, whatever the case may be, we can provide that through a single sourcing with Virtustream. White glove delivery. This is really important, right? There's not a one size fits all with SAP and mission critical applications. Our focus is really on understanding your business requirements, right? And then delivering that service based on those expectations, right? From both a migration as well as that ongoing management perspective. We place a great deal of reliance on our customer success management organization, who work hand in hand with you, our customer, to understand what your expectations are to ensure that we deliver that on an ongoing basis. And this really goes into our high touch experience, right? We want to know your exact requirements. We want to know your expectations. We want to understand your business to really drive to that predictable outcome. And we think and then of course, all of this has to be done within a trust boundary, right? That we build trust in, we build security in from the ground up, and it permeates every aspect of the solution. And in this way, we think that Virtustream and Google are fundamentally better together for your SAP and other mission critical workloads. There's some really interesting aspects here of that. So let's talk a little bit further. So from a Google perspective, Google has some incredibly innovative offerings and capabilities, from whether it's from BigQuery, their highly scalable data lake solution, right? Tremendous analytics capability, or to Cortex, right? A recently released innovation framework that Google has provided to, with SAP specific reference architecture components, to kind of streamline and simplify the process whereby you can leverage data in your SAP system in interesting new ways. Take that data, combine it with other Google data feeds, apply analytics to it, leverage third-party data scientists, whatever you wish, but simplify and streamline that. The platform provides a lot of flexibility around upsizing, downsizing. They do a second boundary here for metering. They have some great approaches from a security perspective on the platform and how they purpose-built hardware to do that encryption, to do that key storage and enable encryption by default for anything that's leaving that data center from a networking perspective, and encrypting everything at rest. And then of course, Google has their massive global private fiber solution. So traffic between Google data centers and potentially most of the way to a customer site is on Google-owned fiber. What we bring to the table is our one hand to shake execution. So we're going to manage that Google infrastructure. We're going to take away that need for you to understand all aspects of a Google environment. And so you have no need to do that, have that expertise in order to do that re-architecture to leverage Google. We're going to be the ones that are going to track Google updates and enhancements on an ongoing basis and bring those to you when they're relevant, so that there's, when there's opportunities to improve your application environment. We do this in a high-touch fashion with our customer success teams to ensure that we understand your business and what your goals are. And we've been doing this for quite some time. Right? We've 10+ years of experience, thousands of successful migrations, no production rollbacks as part of those migrations. So we have that expertise to lower the risk of your migration, help you with that transformational work as part of moving to the Google Cloud Platform, and then operating that on an ongoing basis. And this all feeds into that transform and grow, right? Once you've got the application in Google, you've got it operating, okay, what can you do with it next? Well, Google has all kinds of interesting capabilities in the Internet of Things, right? Leverage their Google private network to let and feed in Internet of Things ideas into your SAP environment, if that's relevant for what you're doing from a manufacturing or perspective. Process automation. Is there an opportunity there for your application where you could leverage TensorFlow AutoML to extend what you're doing in the cloud and how you're leveraging that environment? But most importantly, and an area that we think brings tremendous value to our customers is unlocking that SAP data, right? Leveraging BigQuery, leveraging Cortex, leveraging that intelligence that's within that SAP environment to really add additional value to the business. Right? Different ways of providing analytics, different ways of looking at that, as well as taking something like Apogee, right? Simplifying API access into that data, where you can add just so much more value to the business based on all that intellectual information that's inside of those SAP applications. Well, moving a workload, moving a mission critical workload, right? You really want to minimize that risk and that disruption. Fundamentally, you got to get it right the first time. Virtustream, Google Cloud, we think we can help with that. We provide that one hand to shake simplicity, right? Streamline that billing, right? One individual to talk to for your IaaS as well as your services requirements. Reference architecture. There has been a massive investment in developing the reference architecture that we leverage, both from a Virtustream perspective as well as from a Google perspective, on taking the best of breed technologies, whether it's cloud native within Google, or whether it's within the Dell EMC portfolio, or whether it's a third party to address some other gap, to ensure that we have the best possible solutions around data protection, security, disaster recovery, high availability, and so on, to apply to your solution. Right? So we have this very, very extensive reference architecture. We can understand within that what you're looking for your business outcomes, and then pick and choose and integrate that to develop that customized solution that meets your needs. Automation is key and critical here, both from a getting it right the first time perspective, as well as from a time to value perspective, right? Whether it's setting up that network, whether it's migrating VMs, whether it's the build of SAP applications, it's key to ensuring that there can be aggressive timelines for this work, as well as minimizing the cost of all of it. Cost management, we've touched on this a few times during this presentation. Want to make sure that any solution is evaluated on an ongoing basis to ensure that the spend, that the resourcing, that the sizing, that the configurations are all correct and complete on an ongoing basis. Is the VM sized appropriate? Is it too big? Is it too small? Right? Is the right type of storage allocated? Is the network topology consistent? Right? Are we using the right OS type? These are all critical things that can make a tremendous difference to the bottom line IaaS cost on an ongoing basis. And then obviously Virtustream's experience here in the SAP space with the migrations we've done and how long we've been doing this in combination with Google's SAP experience as well. So thank you all for attending. If you're interested in more information, there is quite a bit more on virtustream.com. If you're looking for just the Google aspects of this, go to virtustream.com and click on Insights on the menu and go to look for resources, searching for Google there. Or if you're just interested in our Google Cloud services, go again to virtustream.com and then navigate to the Extreme Care service for multi-cloud and then select SAP on Google Cloud in that dropdown. So thank you so much for attending. I hope this was informative. My contact information is here. Please feel free to reach out through email or LinkedIn with any questions you may have. And then, of course, you can also go to our booth as well, which will be in both today and tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time today.